We're about to go live. Just gonna share it.
RowdCAST contains adult languages, adult themes, and adult situations. Viewer discretion is advised.
No! 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 This is the RowdCAST. It's where I talk about what I want, when I want, however the fuck I want, and you can't do nothing about it, because this is the goddamn internet.
What the fuck is the internet?
First of all, dude, you don't have an ex. Secondly, this is a fucking show dog with fucking papers. You can't board it, it gets upset. Its hair falls out.
Walter.
Fucking dog has fucking papers. Over the line!
Fuck it, I'm about to graduate. You should be sucking on my ball sack.
Oh man, that's cold! I'm a maniac on the floor, and I'm dancing like I've never danced before. You are now entering the RowdCAST, an online internet radio show brought to you weekly by me, your host, Rowdy Radloff, coming live from Bellevue, Ohio. Buckle up. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Welcome back to the motherfucking RowdCAST. There's only one place, one time, one day, one show that does it like I do it, and you are here, and we are back. Today is, I believe, April 26th, and interesting thing about April 26th is it is a Sunday night. It is 8 p.m., and this is the fucking RowdCAST, and I am your host, motherfucking Rowdy Radloff. Welcome, and it's been quite a fucking week, I would say. You know, there's a lot going on, people. A lot going on. This world is such a crazy, crazy fucking place that we live in. You know, life is just insane. The things that you see daily, and you know, the natural disasters that happen, and weather, and people, man. Just how people interact with each other, and what they do, and how primal people still fucking are, man, when shit hits fan, is fucking out of this world. Crazy. But, like I said, you know why we're here. It's fucking Sunday night, and I'm here to do a show. And you guys are here to listen to the show, I think. I appreciate you guys. Each and every one of you motherfuckers listening. There's one motherfucker out there that's supposed to be my guest on the show this week, but he's a fucking dick, and I don't know where he's at. He's been out of town working, and he's got all kinds of shit going on right now in his life with work, so it's been hard. You know, he's been in Texas and Indiana, and they're flying him all over. I'm going to get him on here, though. He's quite an interesting fucking character, and I definitely want him on the show, and I think he'll be a great guest to have. So, you know, without further ado, let's fucking get into it. So, what's going on in the fucking world? Well, first off, so in the last week, I don't know if I talked about it in the last show. I don't believe that I did. But in case I did, or I'm forgetting that, I left some stuff out. There was another man that died. I know I put some stuff up on the page about it, but as far as talking about it, I don't believe that I did talk about it. But there was another man. I think his name was, not exactly sure. His last name was Gray, something Gray. Young kid. I think he was 22, maybe between 22 and 26, I'd say. Young black male, of course. He's black. That's how, all these stories have been. The media just has a fucking field day with them. So he was being chased. Cops told him to stop, whatever. He took off. Cop chased after him, tackled him, restrained, got him down, got him in some restraints. He was complaining that he was limping. They lifted him up, put him in the paddy wagon, and they started heading back to the station. Well, 2 or 3 times they stopped the car and they had to put more restraints on. They said that he was not cooperating and he was out of control, and they said that he was moving around. Well, when he got to the station, he was severely hurt. He had neck injuries and spinal injuries. Pretty much his spinal cord was severed in half. And so, a serious injury happened to him. And he ended up dying a couple days. I mean, he was in like a coma. And he died a couple days later. So that's where we're at with that story. Of course, that hits the air. Nobody knows exactly what happened. Police aren't, they're not doing themselves any favors because they're saying they don't really even know what happened. Somebody knows what happened. Obviously, there's a bunch of cops, 5 cops there. Somebody knows, something that's not being said. So they, the cops say they're not really exactly sure. They're going to look into it, and the mayor's going to look into it. So now you have all these people getting pissed again. And this is what I was talking about the last time about, we're right in the fucking verge of another revolution. I truly believe that. You could think that I'm crazy or I'm apocalyptic or, I'm not a doomsday prepper or fucking, ready for martial law and have my guns and ammo saved up. That's not me. But I truly do believe now, over all times, is the time to buy a weapon. Times are getting scary. And that's what I wanted to do is play this clip. I don't know how well this clip will be. But, so, anyways, let me get sidetracked. So, no matter what happened, the guy died while he was in police custody. Okay, that's the police failing. We don't know what he did. We don't know if he was a criminal. I'm sure he probably was. Why are you running from cops? That's what everybody always says. We don't have all the stories or all the bits and tad bits of information, and we don't know everything. We just know what we know, and we know that the guy died and he was in police custody. So, like I said, that being said, we say something like that, and you really got to think to yourself, we have a problem. I said this before. We have a problem with police. And I'm not saying they're all racist. This doesn't just happen to black people. This happens to white people. This happens to Mexican people, Asian people. It happens to every kind of people, because you got guys out there that are badge happy. They're just happy to have have a badge and they, are abusing that power. You have a lot of guys that grew up and were picked on and stuff like that, and they say, hey, I'm going to go be a cop because now I have authority over people, or at least they feel they have authority. I'm not saying this is all cops. I'm saying there's the few bad apples that are out there. That, and just negligence of police officers, is what we're seeing a lot. I don't... But, so what happened? This is where I'm getting at. So, a lot of, black people in that area are pissed off. They're saying this is bullshit. They're saying, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And, it's the same thing we've been hearing. And they're going out and they're protesting. And the first couple of days they're protesting and they're, clashing with police a little bit. And they're throwing shit and stuff like that. And then eventually Saturday came. And what I'm looking for, see if I can find this. And so, I'm looking at something real quick. I'm going to see if we can hear this. So Saturday happens. Hold on 1 second. What you have, this doesn't look like it's going to work correctly. It's fucking stupid. The internet's always fucking stupid. But anyways, I put the video up on there. You need to watch it for yourself. It's up on the RowdCAST site. But so what happened is Saturday, people in Boston. This is in Boston, by the way, too. This is where this is all going on at. People go out and people are just enjoying a normal Saturday. They're out while all these protesters and stuff are in the street. And you just have, you watch this video, it's fucking, what it is black people, black males, young black males running around throwing bottles. It's just black versus white, pretty much. And they're throwing they just pick up garbage cans full of bottles and shit, pour them and throw them fucking at these white people. And, they just start pelting them with fucking beer bottles. They have to run. They end up running inside this fucking bar because they're getting pelted with bottles, all these white people. And they didn't do anything. They're just telling them stop, because they're destroying everything. And, these guys went on to, they're smashing, vandalizing cars, looted a bunch of places. It's just like, people are idiots. It's if we didn't learn anything in Ferguson, that we know that we have cops that are racist. Not even talking about Darren Wilson. We know that the police. Now that all the facts have came out, we know that they're sending racist jokes to each other and talking derogatory comments on African Americans. Up their higher ups. Their police chief and all that. We do know that, so whether Darren Wilson did anything wrong or what he did was correct, it doesn't really matter because we know that there were still racist cops in that police force and that possibly the way it's looking, that statistically black people and white officers had a big problem in that community. So then you go to Boston and, you're seeing the same, but they looted their own community. That's what I'm going to say about Ferguson. They went and they robbed their own stores and lit them on fire and burnt a bunch of businesses to the ground. Local businesses. If anything, if you've ever heard the I don't know, like quote or comment that you don't shit where you sleep or you don't shit where you eat. That's it. If you're going to go destroy something, you don't destroy your neighborhood. You go and destroy somebody else's neighborhood. You know, that doesn't really make sense. That makes you look like fucking idiots. That gets your point. Your point is not heard. You are looked at like animals and like savages and not like people. You know, and that's, we've come so far to be like that anymore. You know, it's black people, you know, are people just like us. You know, white people, black people, Mexican, whatever, Asian, red, Indian, whatever. We're all people. You know, that has nothing, race and color and ethnicity and, you know, religion, whatever you believe. That doesn't mean anything. We're all fucking people, all living on this planet, flying around the sun. We're on a big rock flying around outer space. We're all on it together. So when you start doing shit like that and bombing people with bottles and hurting people and knocking people out, they fuck a bunch of people up. You know, your title of a human being is kind of stripped away, and that shit makes me so mad. You know, but what can you do? Nothing can be done. You know, if I was out there and that was going on, there's nothing you can do in a riot. You know, that mob mentality's coming and they're trying to hurt you and throw things, and you know, everything's a weapon. Everything, you know, nobody would stand a chance. You just got to get the fuck out of the way. And it's sad to see that. And I have a feeling it's not going to be it. It's not over yet. I know it's not over yet. I know that we're going to see more of this happen, and that's why I keep saying is, you know, once this happens in a couple of cities all at once, and you have you know, get crazy, and then you do have cops start shooting people, then it's going to get even worse because people are going to be like, you guys are fucking shooting your own humans, and then martial law is coming, and we are fucked. Everybody's fucked. That's how the game goes. That's how it's in an idea. The idea is that we're all fucked, you know? It's very, it's really interesting how this goes. You know, I don't see it ending good, you know? I mean, it's fucking terrible. But that's what I'm saying is just when you see people acting like that, I mean, you know, not even being racist, you know, saying this is going to sound racist, but I mean, they look like fucking monkeys. You know, it looked like fucking Planet of the Apes going fucking crazy, throwing fucking trash cans and debris at the people. You know, they even affected the Boston game that was going on downtown. They put a thing up on the board, like after the game, they told them all to stay inside the stadium because it was, you know, civil unrest outside. I mean, that's getting kind of scary, people. That's you go to see a baseball game and they fucking tell you that you need to stay safe inside the stadium because shit outside is chaotic. You know, they got cops in military gear marching down the street with riot shields, fucking fighting civilians. We're in a different world. Fucking, I don't know if you guys realize this or not. We are in times have changed, and the road that I'm seeing us go down, it's not good. You know, we are advancing so much in medicine and in science, and you know, the things that we can do with computers and phones and fucking you know, cars, and how we travel and how we've changed with GPS and how everybody has video cameras. This is why all this is going on. It's because everybody has a video camera in their hand. You know, we're advancing so fast, but yet when it comes down to it and people get pissed off, we're still as primal and as animal-like as we were when we were fucking making wheels out of rocks and making fire. I mean, really, it all goes out the window when the shit hits the fan. You know, people are man. It's so fucking interesting to me to watch riots and stuff like that. I don't want to see them happen. I don't think they're good things, but it's just to see how people, act when that shit's going on, when they start robbing and they think they can get away with something. They think maybe the laws, the law is, there's lawlessness because, the shit's going on, so I can go fucking steal a bunch of liquor, or I can go fucking, steal a car. Excuse me. But we have it's just we have a hell of a fucking predicament on our hands, and I don't know if a lot of people understand the severity of the situation and understand how big of a deal this is going to be. This is not something that's going to, if you realize it's getting worse. We're seeing more and more of this shit going on every day. It's, people are getting worse and worse every day. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse before anything happens. And we're not, I don't even know what to say. For once on the RowdCAST, I don't know what to say about this that's going on. I don't know a solution. I don't know an answer. I just know a lot of people are going to die, and a lot of people are going to get hurt because of what's going on. There's no other way, and to see it turning into this black versus white thing, it's so sad because we're so far past that, and like I said, it's back to that primal thing. And if you treat another human being, another person that has the life and a brain and a heart like we do, to treat them so unfair, to treat a black person and say they don't have rights and to beat them and force them into slavery, that's fucked up. But to run in a fucking mob and pelt, innocent, like a mom and her kid in the face with a glass bottle, that's fucking fucked up too. That you're no better than our ancestors that were making your ancestors slaves. You're right up there with them because that's inhumane, that's fucked up, it's disgusting. And I'd like to take a bottle and smash you in the fucking face. But when you got 100 people around you, an angry mob, you feel a little bit safer to fucking be able to do shit like that. Like I said, it's savage, it's brutal, and it's hard to watch the thing. But like I said, it's up on the RowdCAST Facebook page, so I'd like you to check it out. If you're in the chat is open. I got the chat on, so if you're listening, you can always drop me a message. If you want to say something, ask questions, you can do that. But yeah, that shit just makes me sick to my stomach, and I don't, like I said, I don't know an outcome. I don't even have one proposed because I just think it's going to be really bad. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And unfortunately, we're all alive, and we're going to have to fucking deal with it. So, something to look forward to. The main thing that I wanted to talk about, right now, that was the main thing going on in our country, main thing in the news, but now it's, that's kind of been put on the back burner. That wasn't even shown because they, pretty much what happened is, I believe it was in Nepal, which is like the Himalayan mountains, Tibet, and Nepal, which I believe is the most northern part of India. I'm not positive on this. I could be making shit up. I'm pretty positive though. It's most northern part or southern part. I don't know. but it's India. It's the the Himalayan mountains. There was a severe earthquake there. I believe it was maybe Friday morning, Saturday night, or either early Saturday morning maybe. But I mean, it was I want to believe that it was 7.9 on the Richter scale, which is like the worst since like 1934, I believe. Let's look at this. But this thing, I mean, it was at 7.9, which would actually makes it about 40% larger than the 7.8 that was first reported. They said there was one that happened in 1934, and it was in Kudo, and that killed 10,000 people. They're already saying, I want to say they said, I want to say 25,000 maybe so far dead. I mean, they still haven't even dug the people out at all. They have towers and shit, apartment buildings that are, huge 100-story apartment buildings that have crumbled, and there's people still in them. I mean, they're doing everything they can. So far there's at least 2,430 people are dead. Number is sure to climb, counting fatalities in India and China. Well, so it's not part of India. I guess it's its own. It's Kathmandu, which, you go into Kathmandu, that's where I'm going to. You know that song? Yeah. That place got fucked up. This thing is just, like I said, I mean, your heart goes out to these people because they're one of the poorest countries or regions in the world, and they have something like this happen. It's just like what happened in Haiti back in, I think, 2010. There was a terrible earthquake, fucking ravaged the whole country. It's up there. This looking like it's going to be worse, but not only, and also Mount Everest is there. And, the weird thing is, just a couple days ago, I put up on the Facebook page, I put this story about Mount Everest and how they say one of the craziest things about Mount Everest, it's not only the height to climb it and to have the guts to do that. They say as you get closer to the top, there's bodies everywhere. That people just die and their bodies shut down, or someone got hurt. And their crew, because, being up there, they don't have the resources, they don't have the strength to help them. They just leave them, and they freeze to death. And their bodies are in pristine condition because they're frozen. They're not, their bodies aren't deteriorating because they're frozen solid, because the temperature doesn't change. So you have all these people that are frozen in time, from different time periods and stuff. There's Indians and stuff, I guess, up there. That sounds insane, man. I mean, that is a creepy story. It's you just see people, frozen people, just stuck, just frozen in time from their time period or whatever they were doing. So, I think that is just nuts. But Mount Everest was that's where Mount Everest is also. And there was a bunch of people up there hiking, or trying to tackle Everest, and when this earthquake hit, it created a bunch of avalanches. And, an avalanche is just a giant, I don't even know, if not like a structure, but it's just, a big chunk of snow that becomes loose from the mountain and starts picking up, and it just collects more and more and more. And it can wipe out a town. It can, it'll kill you instantly. Well, there's a video. I'll put that up on the Facebook too when I get done with this. There's a guy And as everything's rumbling, as the earthquake's going off, he gets his phone out and he's like, wow, this is crazy. You know, he's, this is scary. I'm, you know, I can feel the ground rumbling. He said it hasn't stopped. And the next thing you know, you just hear this loud noise, and he looks up, and there is this just giant wall of just snow, and him and this dude jump inside this tent, and they just get covered with the snow. But I think he survived. I mean, he sounds like he's still alive and breathing. It's super scary, man. Super crazy. Just to have your camera on right when that happened, and I mean, a lot of these people were killed, were wiped out. You know, they said one of the top executives for Google was out there, and he was killed. His head was, something had impact with his head, and it killed him. And I mean, a lot of people killed up on Everest too. So I mean, this is one thing affecting the next. But about that, these tectonic plates and stuff that this happened on, they said that geologists have been waiting for this one. This one is what that fault line is so overdue and so dangerous. They said, they said that they couldn't believe it's taken this long for this to happen. So I mean, that's kind of crazy for them to say that. You know that it was way overdue if they think that, and you know, it's really. I was reading this thing about it, and they said that I believe the country of India sinks up almost 2 inches. It's slowly sinking underneath the plate, and it sinks 1.8 inches every year. The whole country moves down almost 2 full inches, and they said eventually it's just going to pretty much be swallowed by the earth, which I don't exactly can wrap my brain around how that works, but that's pretty intense. It's just as if, you know, the water content and water table in Florida, how it continues to rise, and you know, it's so sandy and stuff. Eventually, someday, all Florida could be underwater, or most of Florida, you know, California also. But you know, this tragedies like this, you know, they happen. You know, a couple of times a year we have some really brutal ones, and you know, it's just it's so hard to think what these people over there are feeling, and you know, they don't even know if people are alive or dead. Their communication, everything's wiped out. They said towns were wiped out just from an earthquake. Just everything crumbled to the ground. You know, it's. Like I said, my heart goes out to the people. You know, they're in my prayers. I know that it's, you know, that's not easy, and to rebuild is not going to be easy either. So, you know, there's not much else that you can say about that. I really don't know, but. You know, you want to say, a lot of people will say that. Give me 1 second. But anyway, you know, a lot of people will fight and say that, you know, we didn't, or, you know, natural disasters are getting so much worse, and, you know, like, we didn't ever have earthquakes like this back in the day, and blah, blah. Well, just from reading the report, it says it's on mark to be worse than the worst one that happened in 1934. So that goes to show you that this has happened before. You know, everybody, when things like this happen, people want to be the first to jump on the bandwagon and say, you know, end of times, end of the world, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that. I think, do I believe that we could be in the end of times and that, yeah, but I don't think, when that tsunami that hit Japan, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's the end of the world. Never stuff like this never happened." Blah blah blah. But this stuff has happened. It's just very rare when it does happen. And 1934, none of us were alive. Most of us weren't. Maybe your great grandparents or something might have been. So that, of course, is not in anyone's mind. So something like this happens, everybody is quick to say, "Oh, this is the worst disaster that's ever fucking happened," but not feeling it like that. I hope that we can, I was reading something else about, we've talked about fracking and stuff before, but I mean, they've finally come out and said that we got to do something else with these poison. I've talked about the poison injection wells too. I just seen something the other day on, I believe it was on a website or a news channel or something, and that's what they were talking about. Is they said that the APA said that there's earthquakes that are happening here in places like Oklahoma and out there in Nebraska and stuff, where they have these fracking villages and towns, because they're shooting all kinds of water and chemicals into the ground for the fracking, and that's loosening the dirt and messing with plates, and it's causing earthquakes, mini earthquakes in places that have never had earthquakes before, that they shouldn't. It's not even possible, because the fault lines aren't even there. There's no plates around, but yet the ground's still rumbling. People are hearing weird noises coming from the ground, and they're at least they're. After I talked about this, how passionate I am about fracking, and I think that it's no good. And I understand we have to have a way to use our own oil, but I don't think that's the fucking ticket. I think that's a big problem. And like I said, do I think that this earthquake is the end of the world type thing? No. I just think it's a rare thing that happened. But again, when you are playing God, and you're messing with things in the ground, and messing with Mother Nature, and messing with the nuts and bolts of our planet and our, the Earth, shit might happen. That's what I think we need to be very careful with. Don't fuck with shit that, this shit like they talk about superseding clouds and making them hot and warm so they can move like storm patterns and stuff. So they could control the weather pretty much, or using the fracking to shooting stuff to clean out the wells and stuff, or chemicals down below, BP using that fucking the corrosive material to clean up the oil that people got in the water, and it messed with them and gave them scars and all kinds of stuff. I mean, look into that. They use these chemicals that weren't okayed by the EPA, and they said they told everybody that they were perfectly okay and they weren't harmful to humans, and all the people helping them clean up the Gulf, and these people were exposed to it, and they were told they didn't have to wear masks, or they told them, BP told, no, don't worry about it, no, blah blah. Well, all these people got real sick, and like I said, breaking out with rashes and hives, and just really bad stuff. Some of these kids almost died. And that was because they were exposed to this chemical that they shouldn't have been exposed to. But, I mean, that's not as far as messing with Mother Nature, but that's putting something in there that we don't know nothing about, and you shouldn't be. I mean, it's a man-made chemical. But, things like the ocean and the moon and tectonic plates that are in the ground and our weather patterns and weather systems and stuff, all that's been here way before humans were ever on this earth. And it'll be here way after we're all gone. And I think not tinkering and putting our finger in and poking the bear is going to be better for us in the long run. If we don't screw with this shit, we, leave it as God intended or whoever made this planet or, whatever happened, it all works flawlessly for a reason. So don't fuck with it. Leave it alone. I think that's pretty fucking self-explanatory. I don't know. And I think as long as we continue to fuck with shit like that, we're gonna see big issues, and we're gonna see, blowing the top. They talk about this super volcano that's underneath Yellowstone. And they just came out with a research that said that, it's the magma reservoir that's underneath Yellowstone is like 5 times bigger than they ever thought. So there's so much lava. They said it could fill the Grand Canyon like 4 or 5 times. And if it blows, there'll be such a cloud of gas or of like ashes and gas that it will cover 3/4 of the United States in soot and ash and stuff. We'd be dead instantly. And that's overdue. That could blow at any time, any day. We're dead, all of us. And that's part of the world that we're living in. It just blows my mind, man. And to take it back kind of full circle to talk about the shit about the police and the black people rioting and also it may not just all be black people. It could be white people rioting too. But the videos that you're seeing is of mostly African American men, younger African American men. But to take it back full circle is, I mean, shit. Every RowdCAST I give you the same fucking message. I feel it, but we're all human. We're all on this planet together. Everything. We just have to take care of each other, and we have to take care of our planet. If we do not at least care, give a little fuck, you have to give just a couple fucks. If you don't give any fucks about this planet, then it's going to be way worse than what it is already. It's all people already didn't give any fucks, and that's why we're at where we're at. And that's why we have some of the things being allowed, is because money speaks more than logical statistical information, I guess. That's what we see time and time again, where stats and reports by scientists or by doctors come out and they say, don't do this, and we do it anyway because the lobbyists and stuff got their money in the pockets and blah, blah, blah. So we know money speaks, the politics speak money. They don't speak what we, they don't speak our language. So, I mean, and the only way that's going to change is if we change that. There's nothing we can do. But fucking rioting and destroying our own communities and hurting our own people and neighbors in our own communities because the cops are fucking not doing what they're supposed to do. How does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense at all. That's fucked up. That makes the wound deeper. That makes it harder. That means you're gonna get the other people pissed off, and then they're gonna start rioting. And they're gonna come after you, and they're gonna try to kill you because you guys are acting like idiots, rioting and hurting innocent people. You're gonna piss off other people, and they're gonna fucking come after you. You're not affecting the cops. By doing this, by lashing out. You're not getting back at the police like what you are saying is a problem. You're just making it like it's white versus black. And I think the media has a lot to do with that, 100%. But, like I said, at the end of the day, it all comes down to here we are, 2015. There's black people, there's white people, there's all kinds of different colored people. We all live on this fucking planet together. We need to take care of this planet and take care of the people that are on it. Don't let people go hungry. Don't let people grow up and, not have a chance to get a decent education or, at least attempt to do what they dream of doing. You know, some people never get that chance, and some people have it a lot better than we think. You know, they're born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they don't even understand how to maintain a normal life and go through the struggles that most of us go through our lives. But yeah, if we just keep battling each other and snuffing each other out and fighting and rioting and being human beings, pretty much is what we've done time and time again. One thing we're really good at is fucking shit up. Really good at war. We're really good at blowing shit up. We're really good at killing people. That's for sure. We're good at destroying ecosystems, destroying foundations, buildings, countries. We're really good at that. You know, if we could do the opposite, healing things, building things back up, and not so much what we're great at. We're, you know, better at the opposite. And I think that mentality needs to change in our country, and it's not going to change from the top up. It's not going to start up top and then come down to us. It needs to start with us at the bottom, and it needs to be brought up through the top. And that's the only way that any kind of change is going to be made. Anybody's pleas and cries and injustices that they believe, you know, every day it's happening. You know, cops are abusing their powers. They're shooting people. They're beating people up. They're, you know, doing what they're not supposed to be doing. So are criminals, though, every day. There's criminals out there, you know, waiting to shoot you and steal your money or cut you or rape your little kids. You know, they're out there. And that's why you better have those police, you know. And that's what you look at that video that I showed earlier. And, you know, when you see that, you know, the first thing people will say is, where are the cops? Where are the cows that happen? Where are the cops? Cops, for one, the reason that's going on is because people are saying, fuck the cops. So the police aren't going to want to have anything to do with that. You know? Everybody's saying, fuck the cops, so guess what? The cops aren't there. Now you're on your own. Now it's time to figure out what you really got, because you're by yourself. You know, and that's the first thing I thought is when I looked at that. I'm sure that's what everybody's saying. Well, where are the police officers at? They're not going to help you. For one, you know, everybody's saying fuck police. So guess what? What are you going to do when they're not around? And two, you know, my second point of that is they don't want to. There's too many. They're outnumbered too. You know, they need to get reinforcements. They're going to have to bring the National Guard in and go to war with these dudes, because they're looking like they're about to go to war, and that's what I'm worried about, and that's what I think, you know, is the next logical step for this to happen. You know, a little incident here, a little incident there is you know, not that big of a deal. You know, they're just destroying their own communities and looting and vandalizing their own shit, which, oh well, you're fucking idiots. But say it goes off at Boston, New York, LA, Miami, Atlanta, Cleveland, Detroit, all these bigger cities, it's all at the same time a bunch start popping off. And these crazy groups like this, you know, these riots and shit, then we got a serious problem. And that's what I'm saying. If they decide that, if anybody decides that, we're going to war. And it's not going to be a war fought over in Afghanistan. It's going to be a war fought downtown, Main Street. People stealing and robbing and killing each other for food and water and gas. And I'm not even kidding. I mean, that's how serious it's going to be. And I don't want to see that happen. But unless we really all come together and try to make some changes and do some things a little bit differently, I don't see it happening any other fucking way. So, sadly, you know, keep your ears up. You know, don't listen to everything they tell you on the news, but definitely, you know, stay current on your news, you know, and see what the fuck's going on in this world. It's important, I believe. You know, stay connected with your world. Stay stay active, stay up on things, and talk to people, you know. You see people's views, you know. That's one thing I love about, you know. Me and my girlfriend get into it sometimes about, you know, she's stating my opinion, and sometimes she thinks that I'm mean or, you know, I'm going out of my way to be negative or something. And I don't really feel that way. You know, I don't think that I'm trying to do that, but I know that people think differently. And just because you think differently, and I may not agree with what you say, doesn't mean I won't listen to you or hear your side of the story. That's what's interesting about people, you know, about the cops and this kind of stuff going on. You know, people see it two different ways. They either see it, you're pro-cops or you're anti-cops. And I don't think it's that clear cut. There's all these cases are different. You know, there's gray to all of them, where there's things the cop did right and maybe he shouldn't be in any trouble, and then there's things that he did wrong and maybe he should be in some trouble. And well, the dude was, you know, reaching like he had a gun, and this guy, you know, had a bunch of warrants for, you know, felonious assault. So, you know, it's just it's always more than just black and white. There's always gray to every issue, and you need to really analyze things and hear different facts. And there's been plenty of incidences where I've made my mind about something, hear something, and then I hear new facts come out and new things that nobody knew about, and all of a sudden that changes everything. That flips everything on its head, and you say, "Oh, wow, what I believed was completely wrong. I had no idea what I was talking about. I was telling people, and I was uneducated with what I was believing." That definitely happens to me. That happens to all of us. But, you know, I mean, I pretty much hit on what I wanted to talk about. It's, I'm going to be back soon, you know, officially. That's what I wanted to say. Like I said, just stay up on your current events, man. Pay attention to the shit that's going on, because it's getting real crazy. I don't want to see World War III fought in our backyards, you know, and I don't want to see it black versus white anymore. I'm so sick of this shit on the media and stuff like that. The news is just sickening. But big updates in Rowdy's life, in my life. This Friday, I sign my lease, get my keys to my new place. We'll be moving up to the Toledo area, where my job, I'm moving for work. That's where I'm going to be mainly working. That'll be the area that I control, and I work out of that area. So big news for me. My girlfriend's moving home with me. We're getting a house. We'll be moving in this next following weekend, so I don't know if I'll be able to get a podcast next weekend, but I might have another one this week sometime that I can fit one in. But yeah, I'm really excited. We got a new house, but what that means is the studio will be changing. The studio will be going there, and we're going to be going big time. We're gonna get good microphones. Nice mixer to mix everything up, get the sound quality perfect so it's no more off the iPhone. We're going to have plenty more guests. It's going to be, you know, hopefully as good as the studio that Hamer has. Hopefully it's up to that par, and I'm hoping to make it better, actually. So look forward to continuing the fucking RowdCAST for all you fucking crazy fucks that listen to me and love this shit. I love doing it. Love speaking my mind. I love, you know, like I said, if anything, if no one listened to this, which I know that's not true. I know that plenty of people listen to this, and I love all you guys that giving me all my hits. You know, if nobody listened to it, I would still do one every week, because to me it's my outlet, that I can rant. It's my things I can talk about. You know, it's almost like a therapy session, which is weird to me because it's just me talking into the microphone and my thoughts and views. That's what RowdCAST's always been, you know, and I like to have the views of my friends and guests for sure on here also. That conversation interests me, and on that note, I'm out of here. I will catch you on the flip side. Righty, rattle off. Signing out. Peace.